position, we have to do some testing. This is also what you need to do for a real building. That is how fast or how slow your building structure can release the heat, or it's the negative heat actually that you store to pre-cool the building. If it's released entirely within 5 minutes, then you cannot shift much of the peak load. Okay, if it's released within a window of 4 hours, 5 hours, that means you could perhaps shift it by 3 to 4 hours and so on. So the test for this building here is pretty encouraging. Is that if you pre-cool it, this is an experiment we done on the simulation platform. That if we use the weekend time, we pre-cool it for the night, during the night, and then we shut down the entire HVAC and then let the temperature to recover due to the ambient temperature. So it will recover to the ambient temperature after 4 or 5 hours. So that means the energy capacitance or the storage that will be released gradually over the time of 4 to 5 hours. So that's what we need for the capacity to be able to store it and also release it slowly within the time window we're interested. Okay.
I don't understand. This is a simulation, right?
It is simulation.
So how come you have two different? Why does you have two different experiments? If you do the why the simulation? Once you have all the parameters of the building,
there is a weather. There's a weather factor.
Put the
the weather factor is a natural. It's actually real time recorded weather data. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, now let's do some closed loop experiments or control experiments. We'll have to establish what is the baseline we're comparing to. We're using some of the open loop strategies as benchmarks. One is that you set it at a constant temperature for the entire 12 hours from 6 to 6, okay? Or if you want to respond to the time of use or the price difference during the before noon and afternoon price difference, then there are strategies people suggested. Maybe you make a set point change afternoon, then you will save energy during the afternoon, or therefore you don't pay higher price for the afternoon part, okay? Because that's where you have to pay the demand cost. Or there's another strategy which says, okay, a rough set point may not be good for the users, or the occupants, so you make a linear strategy. So those are the three sort of strategies. The first one is the standard way. I think that's most buildings are operating now. The second way is what people call it pre-cooling, but it's an open loop strategy. So here are the sort of comparison of the three strategies. These are all open loop. The top one is top curve is the weather change during 5 days, in the week, and then you have the middle three figures showing the constant strategy for 12 hours or a step up. You can see a little step up here during the afternoon, okay, or you can have a linear up for that region, okay. So you just do some open loop experiments and then you compare how the power is consumed. So these are the different curves for the power consumption for each day. But just give you some idea that what you set up for the power consumption will affect what you set up for temperature set points will affect the power consumption during the 12 hours of the day. Now for the closed loop model predictive control, we're going to do this. We're going to have the zone temperature, okay, as something we want to control to manipulate, and then we also have the zone temperature is something we want to control, and the set point of the zones are something we change, okay, and we manipulate the temperature zone, the zone temperature set point, and then we check the power consumption as an output, and then we minimize the power consumption for a particular objective. So this is the the objective we minimize, it is an economic objective. You can put your dollar values exactly on that objective. The first term there is the energy consumption, which is the cumulative energy you're using during the day. And the second term is the maximum, the peak usage, okay? There is a demand charge for the peak usage. So by looking at this objective function, you will see that you minimize something that has a maximum operation, okay? So it's already a minimax problem, but most of the terms here are linear. So we can make the objective, we can convert it to a linear programming problem. So that is something we have to do to sort of manipulate into linear programming. Therefore, your solution would be easier and straightforward. We do have constraints that we have to enforce. And this is how you convert it to a linear program, but I'm not going to go through it for the sake of time here. Just to say that it is going to be converted to standard linear program subject to upper lower constraints. Yeah.
Is your total cost depending on the two factors equally, or they have different rates?
It has different factors. I may have another slide to show how they charge it, but those are the pricing factors that power generation and distribution can play with. Okay. They are not the same unit either. They are not the same. They don't have the same weight. I mean, between EEC and DC, and also they have a different unit because the EEC part is on the cumulative energy, which is a kilowatt hour, and then the peak power consumption is a kilowatt. So the price is based on kilowatt. One is based on kilowatt. The other is based on kilowatt hour. Okay. So it's two different factors, but they put a price tag on it.
So you're assuming here that the generation is not controllable. The generation is given to you. The generation side, it's a demand side that you can only control.
But yeah, we manipulate the demand side. We stand on the user side to minimize what's the cost, what's the cost saving I can.
And you can jointly optimize both also, right?
You could possibly, yes, you could. That would be a game theory, but it's certainly through a huge network of grid, then it'll be many sort of suppliers and then many consumers. So it could be set up as a supply-demand problem.
The reason I'm asking is because I mean it's many years since I studied power systems, but it creates instability, right? When demand and generation do not match, it can lead to instability in the system, and that is when you get the circuit breaker. If the circuit breakers don't trip, that is when you get the blackouts, etc.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah. I think we could safely assume that the suppliers are following the demand. Usually, they have enough power generators, power plants that are flexible enough. They will respond to the demand minute by minute. That's actually the case on the supply side. You got different kind of power plants, or some are gas turbine that's very fast to turn on, turn off. Okay, so then the solution is sort of numerical, and here's the sort of the price you can get charged. This is I think my student got it from South California Edison. It has two price strategies for the summer and for the winter. Of course, you're here, so it makes sense, right? For the summer, it has sort of 4 time zones within a day. You get mid-day peak, on-peak energy rate, and then a mid-peak energy rate. So 3 categories, but 4 zones, okay? And then for the winter time, just two categories. So they put more than what I assumed in this study, but the idea is the same. You get multiple penalties or cost factors within each time zone that you're consuming. Hopefully, we could figure out the best control so that we will shift as much as we can from the peak hour to the non-peak hours and still meet the requirement of the comfort level within buildings. So that is the whole idea. So that's another way to look at the user interface. and I'm going to show how we're going to simulate it. We're going to simulate it for 7 days. Okay, it is in July, and July 1st through 7th, and we're going to have different strategies. One is, say we turn off the AC before 2 o'clock in the morning, and then we leave the 2 o'clock to 6 in the morning, so that the optimizer might use that to pre-cool the building. So we don't turn it on at 6, or we turn it on at 2, but then have very different set points so that it won't trigger it until it's needed. Okay, so that's just set up the time zone for our optimizer to use, and that's corresponding to the time zone of the price strategy as well. So here's the simulation for all 5 zones, and you can see this is 7 days. You got the surrounding ambient temperature that changes from day to day during the week, and you got 5 zones that has the red curves are the set points. You have very high set point during the night. That's where you don't have anybody in it. And then during the day you get a different set point. And then the bottom one is the power consumption. Okay, so for a particular day you could use more or less, and every day it has a different profile because we're using feedback. We're using real-time feedback here. Okay, and you could see also perhaps during the day, what is it? Here, okay. See, let me try another one. Okay, here. So within that, the first half has a lower temperature, but still within the comfort zone. And this afternoon, then the temperature gets gradually to the higher end of the zone. It's second up there. Okay, and after 6 o'clock, you pretty much change the set point to the high value, and the air conditioning is effectively shut down. Okay, so that's how the result is turning out. And here's another view of 3 different days. You get on the hot day, you get more energy consumed. The cool weather day, cool weekdays, this is how it's operating. So that's pretty good. And for weekend, it's very minimal. You still have to circulate the air during the weekends, even though maybe the temperature is not that high. Okay. So this is a sort of the statistics of comparing to the baseline. For pre-cooling strategies, if you do open loop wise, no feedback, you got about 15 to 21% energy savings, and then with the feedback control, you get 25% savings. And for the weekly energy cost, this is when you put the price tag on it, you get even more savings in terms of dollars you pay. Okay, that's the one we're minimizing in this control strategy. Okay, I just want to summarize. We're working on this problem because we have seen many new things coming up, right? New engineering challenges. The primary energy source, which is oil, natural gas, and coal, that they're going to run out at some day. Okay? And also, we have the need to bring in alternative energies, which is a random source, a stochastic source. How do we balance them? We introduce the approach of energy storage, or thermal energy storage, because that's where we consume the most during the summer. Okay, so we're using the control methods, system identification to build the model, and then predictive control to set up the optimal control strategy, and we're minimizing directly the energy cost is consumed. Okay, so far it's showing promising, good simulation results, fairly good. And then the next step is we have to somehow test it. So this is one